Ja Rule's Fun Time Spectacular Feet Friendly Joys, and it's a somber occasion because I have to apologise for something. By nature, I am not one of those finicky rat-like little people that go,
Did you know if you save your cold vouchers, you get a 0.25% discount on cheesels?
Oh, buy 400, get one free. You're watching the channel Ratty Rat's Guide to Cheese.
So I only ever thought about private healthcare on the macro level and just to freak out all the stoners watching. When I said macro, you thought I said macaroni, didn't you? Recently I've been thinking about private health insurance on a personal level, and now that I am, I've realised that it personally affects me! When liberals like Tony Abbott say, I care more about the free market than making sure I never take a photograph where it looks like my skeleton is about to jump out of my mouth. Respond with this. What exactly is free market about blackmailing people into getting health insurance?
They have the freedom to refuse, they just won't, if they know what's good for them.
How much more likeable would Tony Abbott be if he had a tiny hat and was called Goonie Ab Dog?
What?
You don't like? Alright, what about this?
No, I just explain the joke to me, I don't get it.
It's just, instead of his name being Tony Abbott, it's instead of Tony, it's Goonie, and instead of Abbott, it's Ab Dog. There's not much to explain. When I discovered years ago that if you don't get private health insurance by the age of 31, they put a loading fee, i.e. they start charging you 2% more for every year that you don't get private health insurance, I thought, Jesus, who makes the Liberal Party's healthcare policy? The guy that came up with the radio game Beat the Bomb?
How much pressure can you stand?
So I got private health insurance years ago, and now that I'm getting closer to the age where I actually need private health insurance, I've realised, no, I'm not going to get suckered into this legacy scam invented by a man who's never taken a photograph where he doesn't look like a worried chimp. If the private health insurance actually had to face the free market, it'd collapse tomorrow. That's what happened when Labor introduced Medicare. It went from 55% of Australians possessing healthcare to 30%. And at that point, John Howard, seeing that one of his major donors was about to collapse, did this experimental operation. Get me $9 billion of taxpayer money a year. Stat.
Oh no, it's such a shit service that even with a massive cash injection, it's still failing, John.
Okay, essentially forcing everyone over 30 to get it and
I see life.
Thank goodness. What would former footy stars spruik without private health insurance? But let's just put aside what this leech industry is doing on a national scale to our public healthcare system, because it's leeching money out of it to give bonuses to CEOs of NIB. That's where that money goes. The public health system could do the exact same job for half the price. It all just goes to them being like, yeah, I need to see what the healthcare system's like in Fiji for 6 weeks. Yep, just as I suspected, this mojito is not healthy. Let's put that aside and focus on this. It sucks ass. You're better off saving the $50 a week yourself. You know, ever since John Howard introduced private health insurance blackmail, premiums have increased 150%, while what they cover you for has only increased by 60%. Do they know they're private health insurance providers? Do they think they're running some shitty childhood talent agency that, yeah, $50 a week and I get a handler's fee? Think about what the entire business model of private health insurance is. It's based around taking money off you and not giving it back. Think about it from their perspective. It might be in their interest to hope you don't get sick. That's nice. Maybe the CEO of NIB makes a little prayer for you at night going, and please make sure little Timmy's well. But if you actually get sick, a lot of the time they're going to argue with you about how sick you are while you're sick. Wouldn't it be better to just save that $50 a week for the off chance that you get gout due to fluoride in the water? So you don't have to argue while you're sick with insurance lawyers about insurance law. That's not even a David and Goliath battle, because little overlooked fact about David, At least he didn't have AIDS. Now, am I saying in every instance ever private health insurance is a rip? No. I'm saying in the vast majority of instances, particularly for young people, it is, because it is essentially a transfer of money from younger people to older people, and they're forcing you to get it earlier to try and compensate for that, to keep this parasite industry going that, again, the public system could do better if that same money was invested into it. 4 out of 10 private health insurance policies are junk. What does that say about the other 6 out of 10? That they can brag about not being utter trash? Mostly the reason people get private health insurance is because they get a tax cut for doing it, and therefore they don't have to pay the Medicare levy. So essentially, in 2 ways, John Howard is crippling Medicare. The first is he deliberately started diverting billions of dollars out of it each and every year to give these CEOs bonuses. The second is he's making it so you don't have to pay for Medicare. That's the other way that the Liberals have subsidised it. They've directly said, go put your money in a private health insurer, and then you don't have to spend money on Medicare. I'm not comfortable with that. I am very proud of this nation's public healthcare system, and I want my money going into that instead of the guy from NIB that said, oh, well, why do we even need it anymore? I'm going under. Did you ever think about me? So at the end of the day, I was thinking, what is the reason to keep it? So that you cut the queue in elective surgery? That queue wouldn't be there if that same money that was getting diverted into private health insurance was going into Medicare. I don't want to pay for it anymore. This video is essentially to say, I was wrong. I thought there was some advantages to private healthcare, but it seems like most of them are just marketing cons. It's all overstated. It seems like the government's forcing you to get it, but most of that pressure is imaginary. Anyway, that's what I'm saying. I'm out of the matrix. Like this video if you think YouTubers should be giving you medical advice.
Please share and comment below. Comment.